Hi, and this should possibly be the last time you have to listen to me talking about Scratch. What we're going to look at today is user input. This is also a required part for the processes that students need to show within the Australian curriculum. This is achieved through the use of variables. A variable is a digital container that allows the input of some data. Now, this data can be in the form of words, which are called strings in the coding world, or whole numbers. These are known as integers. Decimals are a class of their own. They're named floats. But that's enough of this techno babble. Scratch uses the sensing blocks to allow for user input. We used it last time to ask a question: is it raining? It can also be used to input a keystroke as a trigger for a iteration or a loop, or in branching in an if-then-else statement. Let's try using some variables where the user has to input some data. Let's do the classic introduction. We'll get the cat sprite here to ask what our name is, and then we'll get the cat sprite to say hello to us. So to begin, we need to start our event with a click. So this will be what triggers the start of this. We then need to go to our sensing blocks, and we're going to grab the ask. Remember that what ask is doing is setting up the variable where the answer will be put in the bucket that we're calling the variable of what is your name. So we're going to ask that. Now we're going to get the cat to say stuff, which is of course in the look blocks, weirdly enough. And what are we going to get it to say? Well, we want it to say our name. At the moment it's just going to say hello. So we need to bring in some operators here where we can join things together. So we're going to join the word hello. So we've got to type with a capital because it's the beginning of our sentence, hello. And we're going to put a space after hello, otherwise our name will be joined up against hello and it won't look right. Now, how do we get the computer to use whatever we've typed in here? We remember back when we type in the ask question, the answer goes into this variable. So if I place this variable in the box here, it should use whatever I typed in there to say hello. So we'll give that a run. Let's see if that works. What is your name? That's my name. And hello, Neville. Perfect. So why did this work? We started it. It asked us, what is your name? We entered our name, which placed in the variable of answer. We then got the cat to say, and we joined together the word hello with whatever we typed into the variable of answer, and it placed it there. Very simple, nice way to work it. We might try something just a little more complex. So far we've just been using the built-in variables. We're going to create our own variables, and to do that we would need to go to the data blocks. And it's empty, but we do have the option to make a variable. So we're going to create our own variable here. And our first variable I'm going to call number1. And then we'll create another variable, number2. So I'm not going to be using a string this time, obviously. I'm going to be using integers. And because the checkbox here are clicked, it sits up here. Now I could choose to turn that off, or I could choose to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there just for the point, so we can see what's happening. So I've created my variables. Now I need to create my code. So I don't need this one anymore. I'll just throw it in there. So we're going to begin by asking the question. sensing, ask the question, not what is your name, what is the first number you want to add. Alright, that's just gone off the page there, but we can see. So it's asking the question, what is the first number you want to add? So once I've done that, I'm going to set this variable to whatever we've just put in there. Now at the moment, this variable is called answer. So we're going to set the variable 1 to whatever the answer was. So we've set number 1 is going to be whatever you typed in here. We need to find out what our second number is, and we're going to use the same question, except it'll be second number. To save me typing all that again, I'm just going to right click and duplicate those two blocks. And I'm going to place them there, and I'll just change first number to second number. Now because I've reused the ask here, it rewrites the answer. But we don't want to set number 1 this time, we want to set it number 2. So number 2 is going to be set to the new answer that we've typed in. So every time we use the ask, it writes over the previous answer. So question 1, number 1, answer. When we re-ask, it puts a new answer in the bucket, which we now have set to number 2. So now we're going to do something with that. We're going to get the cat to tell us the answer. So we're going to say the answer. We might do that for 5 seconds instead of 2 so we can see it. Well, at the moment it's just saying hello, and that's not the answer to numbers adding together. So we're going to need some operators to do this. And we're going to use our join again. We're going to use join because we want the cat to say the answer is semicolon and then a space. Now in here we need to do our maths, our operation. So we're going to use the plus operator. We're going to put the plus operator in there, and what is it we're going to be adding together? We're going to be adding the answer to number 1 and the answer to number 2. So back in our data here, we can actually take these two variables, number 1, place it in there, and then we can place in number 2. Now unfortunately mine's off the screen, so I'll just shrink it down so you can see it there. So number 2, and now when we run this piece of code, I'll just bump it back up in a moment so you can see the proper size, but you can see how it fits in there. Join the answer is number 1 plus number 2. I'll just make that proper size again. So if I run that code, I should get my answer. Let's see if I get it right. So what is the first number you want to add? Let's make it 5. You'll notice when I put it in, it puts the 5 up in the corner here. What is the second number I want to add? Let's make it 3. And it's telling me the answer is 8. So I have my 5 and 3, my answer is 8. So once more back through that, why does that work? We start our code, we ask what is our first number, which gets sent to the variable of answer. We then set our number 1 to be whatever the answer is to the first question. We then ask again, what's the second number? It replaces what we wrote for number 1, and then we set our answer number 2 to be answer 2. We then use the say block and join some things together to say the answer is, and then an operation of number 1 plus what's off the screen here, number 2, and it presents that on the screen. So that's how we do some addition. Can you create code to multiply two numbers together to give the product? I'll let you have a go at that. If you pause this, I will pop a possible answer up and you can see how I did it. You may have done it differently. You may have done it better than I did. So pause it now and have a go. Well, I'm sure that wasn't too great a challenge for you. I think you probably very quickly worked out that you just needed to change the words here from add to multiply. This could remain the same because we're still inputting two different numbers, and instead of using the plus operator, we use the multiply operator. And in coding, the asterisk means to multiply, so we don't get confused with an X, and the / is for divide. Well, that should have you all pretty much skilled up to be able to teach the coding aspect of the Australian curriculum in years 3 and 4. If you're having any troubles, you know where to find me.